Barbara Sterling spent 30 years building one of the most respected restaurants in the city. But lately, she had begun to wonder whether the people running it still understood the meaning of hospitality. So she decided to test them. Not as the owner, but as a homeless woman sitting outside her own front door. Barbara was a self-made millionaire. She had built her restaurant empire from a single food truck decades ago. Early mornings, long nights, and a stubborn belief that good food and genuine hospitality could build something lasting. But lately, she had been hearing things. That her staff had grown cold. That they cared more about tips than people. That kindness, somewhere along the way, had become a liability. She had been told, more than once, that certain people were turned away from her own restaurant based on how they looked. Barbara decided to find out for herself. She put on tattered clothes. She smeared a little dirt on her face and hands. And then she sat down on the bench directly outside the front door of her own restaurant, Bella Vista, and she waited. She expected indifference. She expected disgust. What she did not expect was to find an angel and a devil in the same building. And the devil was wearing a name tag that said, Manager. For 3 days, Barbara sat on that bench. Dozens of customers walked past her. Some stepped over her legs without breaking their stride. Some held their noses. One man threw a crumpled napkin at her feet and told her to get a job. Barbara watched it all. Through the front window, she could see Trevor, her manager, working the room, laughing with wealthy patrons, straightening his jacket, never once glancing toward the door. She could hear Karen, the senior waitress, from where she sat. "They're bad for business, Trevor," Karen said one afternoon, loudly enough to carry through the open door. "We should call the police. She's scaring away the VIPs." Trevor nodded, distracted. "I'll handle it tomorrow. We need this place pristine." Barbara said nothing. She pulled her coat tighter and waited. Then came the 4th day. It was pouring rain. Barbara was soaked through, shivering, 2 days without a proper meal. She had not broken character. She would not break it now. Carol was on her break. She came out through the front door with a small bag, a turkey sandwich, an apple, a thermos of coffee. Looking for a quiet moment of fresh air, she saw Barbara on the bench and stopped. She did not walk past. "Ma'am?" she called out softly. "Are you okay?" Barbara looked up, feigning weakness. "Just cold, dear. Haven't had a warm meal in days." Carol did not hesitate. She reached into her bag. "Here, it's just a turkey sandwich, but it's fresh. And I have coffee in my thermos. It's still hot." She handed them over. Her hands were warm. Her eyes were full of something genuine. Not pity, exactly, but recognition. The recognition of one human being for another. "Thank you," Barbara whispered. "You didn't have to do that." "I know," Carol said, with a small, sad smile. "But everyone deserves to eat. Stay dry, okay?" She went back inside. Barbara ate the sandwich slowly. It was the best meal she could remember, not because of what was in it, because of the hands it came from. Inside the restaurant, Karen was watching through the window, and she was not pleased. Karen moved fast. "Did you see that?" she said, closing Trevor's office door behind her. "Carol just gave away company food to a homeless woman. That's theft, Trevor. That's against policy." "It's one sandwich," Trevor said, not looking up from his desk. "Let it go." "It's the principle," Karen pressed. If she gives food away to everyone on the street, we'll go bankrupt. And Carol was in uniform. She's out there associating with vagrants and representing this restaurant. You need to make an example of her. Show everyone you mean business." Trevor hesitated. He had been trying to impress the ownership group, distant investors, he believed, who valued image above all else. He wanted to look decisive. "You're right," he said finally. "Rules are rules." They called Carol into the office. "Carol," Trevor said, still not meeting her eyes, "we've received reports that you gave away company inventory without authorization. Food given to an undesirable." Carol's face fell. "Mr. Trevor, it was one sandwich. She was hungry. It was my break. I used my own." "Company property," Karen cut in from the corner, her arms folded. "And you were in uniform. It reflects poorly on Bella Vista." "What happens now?" Carol asked quietly. She was a single mother. She needed this job. "You're fired," Trevor said. "Effective immediately. Leave your apron. Your tips from today are withheld. Consider it compensation for the stolen goods." "That's illegal," Carol said. "You cannot keep my tips." "Get out," Trevor said, pointing to the door, "before I call security." Carol's tears came quietly. She removed her apron, folded it, and placed it on the desk. She walked out through the front door, past the bench where Barbara still sat. She managed a small, weak smile. Then she walked out into the rain. No job, no money, a long walk home. Barbara watched her go. Her expression did not change. But something had settled in her, cold and clear and completely certain. The test was over. The results were in. The next morning, Trevor and Karen arrived feeling good about themselves. They had cleaned house. They had enforced standards. They felt, in the particular way of small people given a little authority, powerful. The front door opened at 9:10. A woman walked in wearing a leather briefcase in her hand. Trevor's smile appeared before he had fully registered what he was seeing. "Miss Sterling, what an honor! We weren't expecting you today." He moved toward her, hand extended. Karen straightened her posture and arranged her face into its most professional expression. "Welcome to Bella Vista, ma'am. I'm Trevor, your manager. This is Karen, our senior server. We pride ourselves on excellence here." Barbara did not take Trevor's hand. She walked past him slowly and deliberately to the center of the dining room. She stood there for a moment, looking around the space she had built. "Excellence," she said quietly. "Is that what you call it?" It was not a question. "Absolutely, ma'am," Trevor said, following her. "We maintain strict standards. We even handled a situation yesterday. Fired a waitress who was giving away food to a homeless woman outside. Showed everyone that the rules apply to everyone equally." Karen nodded eagerly. "She was stealing from you, Ms. Sterling. We had to protect the brand." Barbara turned. She looked at them both for a long moment. With a disappointment so thorough it had moved past anger into something quieter and more final. "You fired Carol," she said. "Yes, ma'am," Trevor said. "One sandwich. To a vagrant sitting on our doorstep. Can you believe?" Barbara walked to the window. She pointed to the bench outside. Empty now, wet from last night's rain. "That vagrant," she said, "was me." The room went very still. Trevor's smile disappeared. Karen's face went white. "I sat on that bench for 4 days," Barbara continued, her voice even and unhurried. "I watched every employee in this building. I watched how they treated a woman they believed had nothing to offer them." She turned to face them fully. Most of them failed. But Carol gave me her own lunch in the rain, without hesitation, without an audience, without any expectation of reward. She showed more genuine humanity in 5 minutes than either of you have shown in 5 years. "Miss Sterling, if we had known," Trevor began. "That," Barbara said, cutting him off cleanly, "is precisely the point. You only extend respect to people you believe can benefit you. That is not the culture of my restaurant. It is not the culture I built this company on, and it ends today." She opened her briefcase and removed 2 envelopes. "Trevor, you are terminated, effective immediately. Karen, so are you. Security will escort you out. I would strongly advise against listing Bella Vista as a reference." As they were led away, Trevor stammering, Karen's composure finally breaking, Barbara picked up the phone at the host stand. "Get me Carol's number," she said. "Tell her she has a job waiting, assistant manager, full back pay, double." Carol came back that afternoon. She stood in the doorway of Bella Vista, eyes red, not entirely sure she believed the phone call she had received. Barbara met her at the door. She did not make a speech. She simply handed Carol an apron, a manager's apron, and said, "The culture of this place starts with you now. Build it the way you fed that woman on the bench. That's all I ask." Carol ran Bella Vista for the next 10 years. She turned it into the most beloved restaurant in the city, not because of the food, though the food remained exceptional, but because of what it felt like to walk through the door. Because everyone, regardless of what they were wearing or who they were with or what they could afford, was treated like they mattered. Because in Carol's restaurant, they did. Trevor and Karen moved on. Last anyone heard, they were working across town, still, apparently, judging people by their shoes. This story is not really about a restaurant. It is about the simplest test of character there is: how you treat someone who can do nothing for you. Kindness costs nothing. But it is the most expensive thing to fake. And you never, ever know who is watching.
Remember this.
Lift me higher every time I call. Through every season, I will trust your voice. Holding on to hope.